Hello, today we're going to be doing finding the slope. The slope is basically, you can look at it many ways. People say, well, it's the rate of change, a rise over run, but basically it's the change in the y direction, which is up and down, how much it changes go up or down, and the change in x, which is left or right, how much does it change from going to the left or right. Um, so yeah, that's what a slope is. So let's just get into it. You could do it by either 2 points. Um, that's usually how it's done to find a slope of a line. You need to find 2 points, and then you have to use this formula right here, or it actually doesn't show it, but you have, let me see, slope, and they have different ways. You could do change. This means change of y, change of x. This little triangle, it means change of, and it's basically the another way people here is rise over run. Uh, so basically, it's like how much does it rise or goes down. So another way I write it is up and down, and then it's left, right. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the simplest form. And the formula, the way that they do it is like, okay, you have 2 points. You got, they usually put the first point uh, zero. This is like a sub-zero. It's like a indicator of like, this is the first point. It's usually x naught. That's how you say it, and then y naught. The little zero is usually pronounced not. And then you got x1 and then y1. The way that you do the slope or figure it out by using 2 points, it's the first, or okay, if you're going from reading this, or imagine it's going from this point to this point. So you go from this point, or this value minus this point, and this value minus this value. So I'm going to write it down. This is how you would figure out the slope. And that's exactly what's going on here. You're subtracting, subtracting. You get the 2 points, and then yeah, that's usually how it's done. But yeah, first you gotta find the actual points itself. I'm gonna have to go over because I don't want to redraw it. Okay, now we just need to, or for this worksheet, we just finding the slope of each line. So, oh, another way that to describe slope is like how steep it is and up or down. That's another way of saying it. Okay, for the first point, we got to first. I always like doing from left to right. So from this direction to this direction. That's how I read the points usually, or I prefer it that way because it's consistent. I go from left to right. Then okay, let's see. We have this point and this point. So first, let's write down this point, which is we just have to figure out where it is. It's at -1, and then it goes up 2. So remember, it's always for each point, it's always x comma y. It's always in that form. So the x is -1, and then the y is 2. That's for the first point. Now for the second point, we just have to find it. It looks 1 for the x value, and then all the way up to the 4. So it's going to be 1 comma 4 for the next point. So these are our 2 points. So we have to use this formula in order to find the slope. Actually, I don't need this. So just look at how I wrote down the variables or the points individually. I put these are the x naughts and then these are the first point. So we do y1 minus y naught, which is 4 minus 2, and then we do this 1 minus a negative 1. So we got to keep in mind for that negative 1, because you might forget that it is a negative. So if you minus a negative, it becomes a positive. I'm going to write it down. So we do 4 minus 2, and then we do 1 minus a negative 1. So we got to put the parentheses so we don't forget. So at the top we have 4 minus 2, which is 2. And then at the bottom we have 1 minus a negative 1. This becomes a positive. And when you minus a negative number, it becomes a positive. And we got 1 plus 1 now. So that is 2. So the rate of change is 1. That is our slope. Another way of writing this, it's 1 over 1, but it's still 1. That's our slope. Our slope is 1. Let me write down this. Our slope is 1. So we got that. That's the first one. Now on to the next one. First point from left to right. I always like to look at it that way, not right to left. Let's see, number 2, first point. Okay, let's see. It is from -2 for the x value, and then we look at 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's at -4. So the x value is -2 and -4. That's our first point, and then let's do the next point. So we have 1 for the x value, and then 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be 1, comma, -3. 1, comma, -3. So these are our 2 points. Same thing, we got to use the same formula. We got to do this minus this, and this minus this. So we got -3 minus a -4. Remember, don't forget that negative sign. And then we got 1 minus a -2. So we got a bunch of negatives here. Okay, so we got -3 minus a -4. This becomes a positive, so it's -3 plus 4. And what is -3 plus 4? That is a 1. And then on the bottom we have 1 minus a -2. That becomes a positive, so it's 1 plus 2, which is 3. So this is our slope. Our slope is 1 over 3, or 1/3. Okay, now let's on to the next one. We have this. Okay, now from left to right, same thing. This is our first point, second point. Okay, we go 1 to the x value, and then a -2 for the y value. So we got 1, comma, -2 for the first point, and then on to the next one. 2 across, for 2 for the x value, and then a -4 for the y value. So we got 2, comma, -4 for the second point. Same thing for the formula. We do this minus this minus this. So we got -4 minus a -2, and then we got, for the x coordinates, we got 2 minus 1. Okay, so we got -4 minus a -2. This becomes a positive, so it's -4 plus 2. -4 plus 2 is -2. Now, we got 2 minus 1, which is 1. So it's -2 over 1, which is just -2. This is our slope. Now for the fourth one. Okay. First point, we have at -1, and it looks -1, so our point is -1 comma -1. And then our second point is at 0. It's on the y-axis. And then it is 2 down, so it is 0. It didn't move anything on the x direction. And -2. These are our 2 points. Now we have to do the formula. Same thing. We do this minus this minus this. So we got -2 minus a -1. And then we do 0 minus a -1. We got a negative negative right here, so this becomes a positive. So 2 or -2 plus 1 is -1. We got 0 minus a -1. This is just a 0, so it's just a negative here. So this just becomes a 1. So we got -1 over 1, which is just -1. This is our slope. Now, a little thing to notice. I'm going to read off the numbers, or let's see if I can keep that consistent. You see how these ones are going up from left to right? It's going up, and then this also is going up. And then these two, it's going from top left to the bottom right, and then this is top left to the bottom right. You see how they're kind of similar, but notice our slopes. This is a positive one, and it's going up. This is a positive 1/3, and it's going up. This is a -2, and it's going down. And then over here, this is a -1, and it's going down. So if it's going from left, if it's going in this direction from bottom left to top right, that means it's a positive slope. And if it's from the top left to the bottom right, then that means it's a negative slope. That's just something to keep in mind to make a observation. You can look at it like it's like imagine you're going from left to right, but you're going up the hill is positive, and then uh, going down the hill is negative. If you're going from left to right, look at it that way. Okay, now we have continued. Okay, we are basically doing the same thing, but now we are using it in a different way. I'm just gonna give you a second to look at this. Sorry, I sneezed. Okay. Okay. Well, we can either we could find the slope by not only the first way that we did it was just using the graphs, but we can also find it by using the tables and equations by finding the slope. Now, here we know we could find, or well, as you could tell from like the previous picture, you could tell when a slope is steeper or greater, or I mean like it goes up faster or down faster, or vice versa. You know, uh, you can just visually just see, okay, which one's steeper, this or this? Well, you can tell me that this is a lot steeper than this, and then okay, what about these two? Which one's steeper? This one is a lot steeper than this because it's going down faster. Now, same thing here. You could tell the slope just by the number itself. Over here, the slope is 3, and over here, the slope is 2. And of course, 3 is greater than 2, so this is a steeper slope than this one. In this case, it says a greater rate of change. So, yeah. Okay. Now we have a bit of everything here. We have to think about it. We're given like multiple different things and we're trying to find the slope of everything. Let's just do the easy ones, which is these two, because it's easy to find the slope for this one, and we did find the slope by using 2 points from the previous worksheet. And then we'll talk about these first. So let's first do these two right here. So it is 1 comma 5 for the first point, and then 2 comma 9. This is for the third one, and then the fourth one, or actually I'll do the fourth one later. Okay, we do this minus this, and this minus this. So we got 9 minus 5, and then 2 minus 1. That's our slope. So we got 9 minus 5, which is 4. 2 minus 1 is 1. So it's 4 over 1, which is just 4. That's our slope. And we could tell that it's associated. 3 is A, because this is telling you the slope, which is 4. So our answer is A for 3. So we matched up 1. So this goes to this. And now let's find this one. Well, it's over here. It's actually whenever it's right in this equation, the equation of a line, y equals mx plus b, m is always the slope. Now, m is always the number in front of the variable x whenever it's in this form. It's always in front of the x. It's whatever the number is in front. So say that it's a negative 2 that's in front. When I mean whatever the number is in front, the number in front is not just 2. It is negative 2. So if there's a negative in front, include that into your slope. Do not forget that it's the entire whatever that's in front. So do not forget that it's a negative 2 if it's a negative 2 in front. And slope is, for that scenario, say that this was a negative 2 right here. The slope is actually negative 2, is not just 2 itself. So if it's a negative, do not forget that negative. Now, look at the formula. It's y equals mx plus b. The slope is the m, which is located right in front of the x. And what is the number in front of the x here? It is 3. So there's no negative number, or there's no, it's not a negative 3, it's just regular 3. So our slope is in fact just 3, which is this right here. So 4 is connected to the b. So 4 has a slope of 3, which is b. Okay, now let's do these two. These are a little bit more trickier, but we can do this. Okay, so we got, let me hide the answers. Okay. Okay, so we got 1, 3, 4, 6, 5, 9, 11, 15. This is x comma y. Now, I claim it's very similar. You could find the slope. Since we're assuming that these are linear functions, we could just assume that this is a linear function, or a linear table. Like, it's not going to do anything weird. So, and technically, we could choose any. This is number 2. We could choose any 2 points, and the way that you read it is like, okay, let's choose the second one and the fourth one. Let's just choose those 2. We could have chosen this one, or this one, this one. It doesn't matter. Choose any 2 points. But the way that you read it is this way. Since we're choosing the second one and the fourth one, we're choosing the second point and the fourth point. Okay, so let's just write it down in the way that we write a point. This is the x, this is the y. So it's x comma y, which is 3 comma 9. And here it's 6 and 15, so it's 6 comma 15. You see how it's very similar to this, the way that we did it over here? We just We have a different set of information. We just have to read it in a different way. It's the same idea. So we just write down how we find the slope. So we have this minus this, you minus a y components, and this minus this, you minus x components. So we have 15 minus 9, 6 minus 3. This is what is this is the slope. Let me write that down. This is 15 minus 9. What is that? That is 6. 6 minus 3, that is 3. What is 6 divided by 3 equal to? It is 2. So our slope is in fact 2. Now I don't want to give the answer for the next one, so we know that it's a 2. Okay, let's look for the other one. It says Austin pays a registration fee of $10 plus $1 for every audiobook. Now, what is that? What is changing? It's the fee for every book he borrows. It has a flat fee, or just a flat fee of $10. So the fee of $10 always changes, or it always stays the same. But what changes? Sorry, I misspoke right there. But what changes? It's the number of book he borrows. So we do not know how many books he borrowed. So we could just say that it's X books. We do not know how many books, but we just know it's X. Now, how much does it charge for every book? It's $1. So this whole thing changes the cost of the of or the audiobooks that he borrows changes of every book that he borrows. The only thing that changes is the amount of books that he borrows. But it changes consistently. It changes at a constant rate. And it changes by $1 every single time. So the more books he borrows, it goes up more expensive. But it's always changing the same way. Now, I want you to look. Another way of saying that this one, it is the slope, because this is the thing that's changing. This variable is we do not know, but in front of it, it tells you how much it's changing by. And by the way that it tells you is by you gotta plug it in order to know how much it goes up and down. But it's a constant change, a constant rate of change. It always increases by $1. So, and if you were to look at this formula right here, y equals mx plus b, it's very similar to what we have right here. B is always fixed, which is our $10 flat fee. And then we do not know what our variable is, which is we do not know how many books he has done, but we know how much it costs for each book. It's $1. That's our slope. This is our m. So our slope is 1. Now let's look at our answers. We already did A and B, so we have 2 goes to C. So this goes to C. And then the fourth one goes to D. So we have 3 goes to A. We have 4 goes to B. We have 2 goes to C. We have 1 goes to D. So yeah, that's how we did it. We did it step by step. I think that's a good spot to stop on, because the next one is going to be slightly different. We'll work on the next one on the next video. So I hope you enjoy. If you have any questions, please let me know. Hopefully answer in the comments below.